Hi there, welcome to this week's farming forecast. And I thought we'd start this week by taking a look at the soil moisture. There's been a lot of people over the phones recently that have been letting us know that soils are getting quite dry, particularly after we had such a wet winter. So I've got for you here two time series of soil moisture water content in two different parts of eastern England. So we've got Rise Home in Lincolnshire and Fincham in Norfolk. And you can just see with that black line there how the water content has varied over the last couple of years. And you can see over there that notably wet winter that we've just come out of. So soils were quite waterlogged in many places, and many places reaching above field capacity for water content. So after quite a wet winter, we really have had a bit of a change over the last month or so. March and the start of April has been quite dry, with high pressure close by for a lot of the time, and that's had quite a knock-on effect on the soil water content as well. You can see here at the end of the graph there, the end of the time series, that we're dropping down quite rapidly, and particularly with that sort of dry and quite warm period at the end of March, that's had a knock-on effect at the soil moisture. So many places quickly becoming quite dry even after such a wet winter. So a lot of changes happened in the last month, and it is a concern for many people, as obviously last spring was also very dry and we don't want a repeat of those conditions. You can see Fincham here, not quite as bad, closer to that grey line, which is the average line, but it is trending downwards. So should we see if it's set to continue? Let's take a look at the jet stream. So starting off, we've got the jet kind of sort of split into two branches almost. One branch going across to the north, steering areas of low pressure over Greenland towards northern Scandinavia, while one branch of the jet stream goes southwards across southern Europe, bringing above average rainfall to places here. And in between, we've got a blocking high building. So that's stopping areas of low pressure sort of tracking too close to parts of Britain and southern Scandinavia, central Europe, those kind of areas where it will stay drier for the week ahead. So let's take a closer look at the forecast then. Starting with tonight, we've got a few lingering showers around at first, but these will gradually ease as we go through the evening. And it does look like in any clear spells, there will be a risk of frost tonight. High pressure staying close by for much of tomorrow, so most places will be drier, but you can see just the risk of a few scattered showers popping up later on in the day, most likely in central and western parts of Britain, while elsewhere staying largely dry. Now into Thursday, high pressure becoming more centred to the east of Scotland, but still largely dominating our conditions. So again, keeping things dry. I think as we go through Thursday, there is going to be the risk of a few scattered showers pushing into southeastern areas, but elsewhere largely dry. Then into Friday, Saturday, this front approaching from the west, starting to push into Ireland, western Scotland, particularly so into Saturday, where I think we will see some rain in these western areas, maybe just pushing into western parts of Wales and England by the end of the day. But elsewhere, I think we will stay largely dry under that ridge of high pressure coming across from Scandinavia, so helping to keep things more settled. But as always with the high pressure, we've got the risk of some frosty mornings in any clear spells overnight. Looking ahead for the next few days for some spraying opportunities, let's take a look then. So the green colours showing ideal spraying conditions. This means light winds and dry conditions. You can see a lot of green colours across this map at the moment, so most places with that high pressure will have good spraying conditions. Could just get a bit breezy in the southeast and the northwest at times, and as we have mentioned, there's a risk of a few showers developing on some days as well, so this can be a tricky thing to keep an eye on if you're doing some spraying. But the best thing to do is take a look at our WQRadar. This is a really useful tool for tracking where rainfall is in the UK and where showers are developing. But as well as that, you can also see lots of different weather observations across the UK and worldwide. You can get lightning alerts and you can look at archive data. So many things are available. Just go to wqradar.co.uk, and this week I have got a special discount for you. So if you enter the code SPRING in the discount box, you'll get your first year at £25, which is half price for our radar service. So well worth the investment, and particularly if you're looking to get some jobs like spraying done over the next couple of weeks. So taking a look further ahead then, now you remember we had a front sort of starting to edge into northwestern parts into Saturday, and I think as we go into the early part of next week, this will manage to push eastwards, pushing that ridge of high pressure out of the way and starting to make its way slowly eastwards. However, it will weaken as it moves eastwards, so turning lighter and patchier, so maybe even some eastern parts could end up staying dry, with that only being sort of very light rain by the time it gets there and quite a weakened feature feature as well, and you can see high pressure already building to the northwest once that front has moved eastwards, so high pressure waiting in the wings for early next week as well. And then further into the latter part of next week, you can see high pressure is dominating. Will have moved sort of from the west of the UK, sort of gradually drifting eastwards to become centred over southern Scandinavia, keeping our conditions on the drier side of things, the more settled side of things for the latter part of next week. So let's take a look at the ensemble forecast for the air mass temperature. We always use ensemble forecasts. They're a really good idea to get a good sort of spread of what may happen in the future. And if you want to find more about ensemble forecasting, just click the link up here. But this is the ensemble forecast for the air mass temperature. And as you will have probably known, that it's been quite chilly over the last couple of weeks, below average temperatures. And you can see at the start of this period, air mass temperature is well below average, being that dotted line there, so below average at first, but it does look like as we go into the last part of the weekend, first part of next week, things are set to improve. A brief sort of period of southerly flow on the forward side of that area of low pressure will bring us some milder air. So as we go into the first part of next week, a bit of an improvement there. You can see the red line, which is showing the average of the ensemble members, is above that dotted line finally. So it looks like we will see a return to about average temperatures, maybe even slightly above average in places for next week. And as we go further ahead, that red line still staying just above that dotted line there. So it looks like we're out of the woods for those cold temperatures. Looks like we'll be just sort of above average for the next couple of weeks or so. So taking a look at the monthly forecast, this kind of supports what we've been saying of high pressure being centred across much of Northern Europe. This red colour is showing the above average sea level pressure, so anomaly there. So higher than normal pressure, settled conditions generally for many places, and you can see that reflected in the precipitation as well. A lot of those brown colours across Europe there indicating drier than average conditions, with really only green colours across southern areas and across parts of northwestern Scandinavia, where there will be areas of low pressure bringing spells of rain at times, but otherwise quite settled for many places. And that cold air that's been above us, over us for sort of in the last couple of weeks, managing to sort of clear out towards southeastern areas, so becoming a little closer to average, maybe even above average for many parts of Northern Europe, while those cooler temperatures stayed down to the southeast there. Going towards week 3, still got that signal for high pressure across much of Northern Europe. It is retreating slightly, so maybe drifting slightly eastwards, but still looking to have like quite a knock-on effect on our forecast, still keeping things drier than average across much of Europe, as you can see with those brown colours there, and really only low pressure looking to affect places like Iberia, where those green colours are indicating wetter than average conditions. In terms of temperatures, still a few blue colours there indicating hanging on to a little below average temperatures, but elsewhere colours in the white colours or the pink indicating above average temperatures. So that's good as we go into week 3, continuing to hold on to the slightly milder feel to the weather. And as we go into week 4, the high pressure signal is now sort of out to the east, so it is got the idea that it will drift towards Eastern Europe, Western Russia, but I think still extending across much of Europe, so helping to keep things a little bit more settled for many places. But it does look like with those blue colours starting to creep into the map across in the southwest and also to the north, we might see some places looking more unsettled. So you can see here Iberia and indeed Scandinavia with those green colours again, so becoming slightly wetter than average here, but elsewhere still got a lot of those brown colours across the map, particularly across central parts, indicating that high pressure might extend across many places here, so bring a more settled feel to the weather. And temperatures as well, I think, again, remaining above average, so a lot of these pink colours across the map, close to or above average temperatures for many places. So to summarise, I think over the next few days we're looking at a risk of showers at times in the afternoon, but quite isolated showers. I think we'll see a few frosty mornings over the next couple of days before some longer spells of rain start to push into northwestern areas. That front then managing to make its way eastwards into the first part of next week, so maybe some spells of rain into central and eastern parts, but it does look like it'll weaken as it comes. And also becoming milder into next week, a return to normal or maybe even above average temperatures. And then it does look like for the rest of April and maybe into the beginning of May that high pressure will dominate our conditions. So we are looking at drier than average conditions and more settled weather on the cards ahead. Thanks for watching this week's Weatherquest farming forecast. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so do feel free to get in touch on social media.